That void could have been dodged or avoided. This is the beat of the moment, the models and model really modify to express that for the mind of decent motivated for the motives and kinetic energy for the motions and is needed for the next generation of footnotes. And there's an army for the generations of footnotes, and you can find it genetically modified like Uncle Sam genes and the fabric lies. Converted for the comfort, textbooks to the culturally stated in good ways to make it nap for the reading. That void could have been dodged. That void could have been dodged or avoided. This is the beat of motive for the motive, the moment, the models and model really modify to express that for the mind of decent motivated for the motives and kinetic energy for the motions and is needed for the next generation of footnotes. And there's an army for the generations of footnotes, and you can find it genetically modified like Uncle Sam genes and the fabric lies. Converted for the comfort, textbooks to the culturally stated in good ways to make it nap for the reading the word for the day before that day for the casual conversation that concern or confusing conservatives. Consider the content to control. Remote control for the content for the condensed. Conan Barbarian for the world, of course that way is consider for the rhythm and the placement. New article for the newest artists, or artillery for the substantial artifacts and articulated for the round and future. Past ancestors.
That void could have been dodged or avoided. This is the motive for the motive, the motive, the models and model really modify to express that for the mind of decent motivated for the motives and kinetic energy for the motions and is needed for the next generation of footnotes. And there's an army for the generations of footnotes, and you can find it genetically modified like Uncle Sam genes and the fabric lies. Converted for the comfort, textbooks to the culture stated in good ways, making it nap reading the word for the day before that day for the casual conversation that concern or confusing conservatives. Considering the content of the control. Remote control for the content for the condensed. Conan Barbarian for the world, of course that way is considering for the rhythm and the placement. New article for the newest artists, artillery for the substantial artifacts and articulated for the round the future. Past ancestors for the sake of the markers. Mark the mercenaries that have the mercy for the morality for the surprisingly involved with another for the side of the position. Connecting us with the world for the likeness of some kind of united nation for the something that's essential enough for the building for the celebrating for the submission to be agenda. Greatest of all time, he was that scapegoat. Understanding every broken product through the acronym for the GOAT for the great grandmother for the dissolution for the discipline to be striking every hour he drinks. He missed glass, drinks slowly from the hand to the second. Toss to get enough of the being enslaved for the wear for the tooth and to another number of the times he's been waiting for the world for the certain time they behind it were bars. Someone did mention that, but he was confusing enough of the times that after he broke down the clockwork for the function of this society. Sitting on the table for the math of the sun. Difficult to vacate the boredom. It becomes difficult enough to understand the way he was before the after death, before the line was to leave away for the runaway from the train of thought. Police and nose are paying the close attention to the details and derail for the really reaching the rapid response from the new engineer for the former country that is to be the forbidden for the forbes. A long night. And the last adventure for the elect, elegy for the born again, for the exhausting sounds of the mortal, for the coming in and out for the portals to the pores, and pores are like the tiny portable for the universe to the known unorthodox and knowing, conversing in unison and connected like the seed that you can have the seed even in the world, and this is spelling knowing and making a sense of cast exposed. Subliminity breeze and blue outside, for nobody was there to feel it, but it didn't happen in the leaves and will fall. Leaves will thoughts of those who know and needed for unbelievable from the sound for once a lifetime for the study, for the generated for the enough for the bank generalizations. Nations are ignorant enough of the bear to consider the conscious and self-harming and the human behavior of the world for the looking forward to the hallmark and the holic runs and feeding the minds of television programs and guiding for the program that ripping away your grammar like generations of grandpas and gramophones. I guess. That.
He used to be the beautiful eyes. He used to be the beautiful eyes shadows where you were. He used to be the beautiful eyes shadows where you were rest to find shade. I shadow with the finding a shade and making it stable enough for the pleasant experience. The sun beautiful enough you wanted to chill all summer long for the slow trip around the sun for even slower on the Sunday for the money for the benefits of grading a range of the flower they're taking the breezy day for the cool nights and knows all it knows what nobody knows and nothing to compare windmills to the cow farms and your milky way for the birds and making your coffee to sing the song in the morning for the yesterday's funeral that too often too much too long for the tomorrow's capacity for the city lights rights and wrongs and good day for the making the calls and the calling of the people over the yelling the caution often the turning and turning it off and because I turn on for the owner to take in someone's heart I turn on them on the turn them on the taking the turns and turning the cheeks and turning around like a U-turn for the patrolling officers making their quarters leaving the office early for the willing the feeling the weak and the wicked and the waiting the waiting the weak in advance and this is he's on the fence of the garden only the tell the grass is greener for the weight to the gift the hope of the whistles along for the purpose the perspective occupation welcoming rain for the heavens and those that pour down a downpour a down payment for the new lawnmower more for the longs to keep in the fantasy the pace in that box consider the jukebox for the thick in the box the Jews and accepted Jesus and accepted Jesus as you for the master with the knife for the welcome in the back of the parables parade frayer paraphrase this is missing mark like I was shooting the boats to the break for the incomplete rainbow to the lower taking the suitcase to the court for the suit about the certain races being suitable enough for the bow ties the black man said he won but it wasn't fair enough for the victory for the Lord you kind of find the case to suit for the bow tie for the boat knowing too many words there was no time for the discuss words for the sentence and giving that word the block for the light for the taking away from the stars when you have the lust stars for celebrities and the celebrating for the celibacies of the Catholics do marry waiting for the marriage and the gospel the intimacy for the males most of the intimidation for the neglect. Own secret insecurities to the way you are. For the involved, for the interest of yourself, and this is Jesus. Making a profit for the selfishness and then using the gift for the prophets to be a prophet for pathetic and preachers and government for the leeches. Swamps and resales to swap me. Weekend swapping lifestyles to vulnerable, ignorant, and she's a virgin. Stepping against it. Act after the insecure for the victimized to the arrogant. Beauty pageants to keep that smile on your face with the wipers. A smile off of the whispers to sight. The people to tuck in the sunshine away before entering. Rain chant. Colorful collage of rainbows, pretty can taste the flavors between your imagination to get colors all over your hand. Eventually tables will turn from the DJ tables to over the do math, timetables, no lie, no able, no TV, no cable, don't get programmed, too much, want, no knowing, no how to have the dreams for the stop. The rat race chasing the illusion for the exercise and the patience to keep up with that for the hype man, for the hypotheticals and instead of the pathetic. Love with that, can't get it into the good of sounds and neighbors are all too great. Understanding the chapters of the acts and the acknowledging the awareness of what is good enough for the everyone that cares less to be cautious of the love and they can't remember. Ocean features and resources provided 3/4 of the world population. Can it be selfish enough for the attitude I appreciate? No gratitude. I hold the higher plane for taking a look at my latitude for the calling me abstract for the ruling. Interrupted for the involuntary, the causing a volcano to erupt. Interrupted for the involuntary, the causing that interruption to find a lot of lots of ups and downs, the hang ups and the round, the side of a circle over the oracle to distort that retorter and dodging the void.
The beautiful eyeshadows where you rest in far and shade.
Used to be the beautiful eyeshadows where you rest in far and shade. Eyeshadow with the finding your shade, making it stable enough for the pleasant experience of sun. Beautiful enough you wanted to chill all summer long for the slow trip around the sun, for even slower on a Sunday, for the money, for the benefits of grading a range of the flower, they're taking the breezy day for the cold nights and knows all it knows when nobody knows and nothing to compare. One mills to the cow farms and your Milky Way for the birds and making your coffee to sing the song. In the morning for the yesterday's funeral, the too often, too much, too long for the tomorrow's capacity for the city lights, rights and wrongs and good day for the making the calls and the calling of the people that been yelling the caution, offering the turkey and turning it off. Because I turn on for the only to take in someone's heart. I turn on them on the turn around, they're taking the turns and turning the cheeks and turning around like a U-turn for the patrolling officers making their quarters. Leaving the office early for the willing, the feeling, the weak and the wicked, and awaiting the wake and the weak in advance. And this is he's on the fence of the garden, and only the tail and the grass is greener for the way to the gift, for the hope, and the whistles along for the new purpose, the perspective. Occupation welcoming, rain from the heavens and those that pour down a downpour. A down payment for the new lawnmower, more for the lawns to keep in the fantasy to pace in that box. Consider the jukebox for the thick in the box, and the Jews and accepting Jesus as Jesus, and accepting Jesus as you was about to, but not for the welcome in the Bible and parables. Paraphrase, this was missing. Mark like I was shooting the bows of the rain for the incomplete rainbow to the Lord, taking a suitcase to the court for the suit. Bound to certain races being suitable enough for the bow ties. But the black man said he won, but it wasn't fair enough for the victory for the Lord. You kind of find a case of suit for the bow tie for the bow. Knowing too many words that was one time for the disgust. Words to the sentence and giving that word. The block for the life for the taking away for the stars, and you have the lust. Stars for celebrities and the celebrating, for the celibacies and the Catholics do marry. Waiting for the marriage and the gospel, the intimacy for the males and the intimidation for the neglect. Own secret insecurities to the way you are, for the involved, for the interest of yourself, for this is Jesus. Making a profit for the selfishness and the using the gift for the prophets to be a prophet for pathetic preachers and government for the leeches. Swamps and resales to swap me. Weekend swapping lifestyles to vulnerable, ignorant, and she's a virgin. Stepping against it. Act out for the insecure, for the victimized, to the arrogant. Beauty pageants to keep that smile on your face with the wipers. A smile off for the whispers and sight. The people that tuck in the sunshine away before entering. Rain chant. Colorful collage of rainbows, pretty can taste the flavors between your imagination to get colors all over your hand. Eventually tables will turn from the DJ tables to over the do math, timetables, no lie, no able, no TV, no cable, no get programmed, too much, want, no knowing, no how to have the dreams for the stock. The rat race chasing the illusion for the exercise and the patience to keep up with that for the hype man, for the hypotheticals and pathetic. Love of that for the can't get it into the good of sounds and neighbors are all too great. Understanding the chapters of the acts and the acknowledging the awareness and what is good enough for the everyone that cares less and cares less to be cautious of love and they can't remember. Those features, those resources provided 3/4 of the world population. Can it be selfish enough for the attitude and I appreciate? No gratitude. I hold the higher plane for the taking a look at my latitude for the calling me abstract for the really interrupted for the involuntary, the causing a volcano to erupt. Interrupted for the involuntary, the causing that interruption and find a lot of lots of ups and down the hang-ups and around the side of a circle over the oracle to distort that from a torture and dodging the void.
You breathe and smile without a dream. There'll be a little bit of more pain. Certain the moment for the heart really desires their own lessons. Be happy with you again, and you the one to make it happen again for the thanks for the being such a good one with a good wish, and to lay down for the rest of the weight in the world for the bruise shoulder for order to getting the feeling that had to be done with that back in the pain and that back in the day. It's the day to beginning for the feeling of feeling already for the irrelevant for the impossible to play the different from the roles in the play. And the play for the pay, for the fool, for the paper checks, for the what you doing, the pain and labor, for the credit for the idiots and adolescents to the face and the welcome mistake. Mine today is your day not to be taken away. I can watch that for tomorrow and taking and taken away for this to be the right no journey for the journals and the writing like you never dreamed before for the having experience and kneeling before him before the ever the king for the king and the metaphor like that for the ring to the lock and the ring like Mike Tyson and the teens and this is defeating for the holder to go tight up in the church without a pipe with the holder to tell the truth surface of the staff for the standstill sir and facing the owner to prune for the hardest moment you ever faced and you will be tongue-tied enough for the tripping over the words and the relace and let's stay for the way for the doctors no stay there man whether you can call no doctors to the office you can pretend the tender for the pretty tending the breeding of the babies of the tender for the tender taught up at the sentence and the phrase of the running on like a repentance. It's needed for the running on like a track and not training enough for the import, enough for the four affairs of distribution, sharing to get it only for the only talking about the talk, walking the oblivious and the obviously up for the obligation for the circumstance, departed for the deported, for the deportation, the depleted, deprived and not for the be the deprivating, for the feeling and unappreciated, for the often evaluated, for the unstable, for the standing and uncomfortable, uncommon ground evacuated, for the premises, the evictions, and this would be the danger for the premonition, for the predominant, the repetitions of the pretty promising. Probably not proud enough to pay attention to the problems. The price is too damn high anyway for they can't get it back. And down to the one to the whole father, pretty bit. Robert even defied the department for they were meant to be a part like a pearl. Divorced policeman for the department not meant to be a part. And the partners of the parents in the perishing compartments. These are the four agreements that can't compromise that are although poured out with the empty promises. Minor observation for the reserve. Service to be the veteran for the homeless. Probably thinking about the streets and aren't even less for the homies unless they home has a home and the homies.
A little bit of more pain. Certain the moment for the heart really desires their own lessons. Be happy with you again, and you the one to make it happen again for the thanks for the being such a good one with a good wish, and then lay down for the rest of the weight in the world for the blue shoulder for order to getting the feeling that had to be done with that back in the pain and that back in the day. To be a little bit of more pain. Certain the moment for the heart really desires their own lessons. Be happy with you again, and you the one to make it happen again for the thanks for the being such a good one with a good wish, and then lay down for the rest of the weight in the world for the blue shoulder for order to getting the feeling that had to be done with that back in the pain and that back in the day. It's the day to be dealing for the feeling and feeling already for the irrelevant for the impossible to play the different with the roles in the play. The play for the pay for the fool for the paper checks and the what you doing the pain and labor for the credit for the idiots and the adolescents to the face and the welcome mistake. Mine today is your day not to be taken away. I can watch that for the mind and taken away for this to be the right no journey for the journals and the writing like you never dreamed before for the having experience and kneeling before him before the ever the king for the king and the metaphor like that for the ring to the lock and the ring like Mike Tyson and the teens and this is defeating for the holder to go tight up in the church without a pipe with the holder to tell the truth. Service of the staff for the standstill sir and facing the owner to prune for the hardest moment you ever faced and you'll be tongue-tied enough for the tripping over the words and the lace. And let's stay for the way for the doctors no stay there man there whether you can call no doctors or the office you can be the tender for the printing tending reading it the babies and the tender for the tender taught up at the sentence and the phrase of the running on like a repentance. It's needed for the running on like a track and not training enough for the import enough for the four affairs of distribution sharing to get it only for the only talking about the talk walking the oblivious and the obviously up for the obligation for the circumstance departed for the deported for the deportation the depleted deprived and not for the be the deprivated for the feeling and unappreciated for the often evaluated for the unstable for the standing and uncomfortable uncommon ground evacuated for the purposes the evictions and this would be the danger for the premonition for the predominant the repetitions of the pretty promising. Probably not proud enough to pay attention to the problems. The price is too damn high anyway for they can't get it back. And down to the one to the whole father, Robert even defied the department for they were meant to be a part like a pearl. Divorced policeman for the department not meant to be a part. And the partners of the parents of the perishing compartments. These are the four agreements that can't compromise that are although poured out through the empty promises. Minor observation for the reserve. Service to be the veteran if they're homeless. Probably thinking about the streets and aren't even less than the homies unless they home has a home. And homies and men home and optimism for the making the lemonade for the learning, the serenade and the sarcasm that you can find after the wearing. Scars were the ones and not the being used to the warning. They didn't listen to the warnings and the warning all the time. Never had that for the watching your eyes and see that one day for the too close to the comfort for the being close to the comfortable like a soft table with the fork for the table and the table enough for the fork for the devil is the tap and the comfort for the stable for the life and to be placed on the end of the tunnel for the desire. Long night in the dark pleasant experience with the sun with its beautiful eye shadows where you rest in line and shade. guess you made it through the way, to the heart. Expressed in a place to go through all the matters that you can find and what's next. That's to be peaceful, the dreamscapes to the first smell of breaking the fast and eating stuff. But this has made the way for the bed, for the food, for the taste of the acid, down the refrigerator, for the sink, then the opposite. Taking ownership for the day, for the it was the opposite, the keeping the ship sinking. Like that acetate down the throat, it's the most important part that matters, the explanation, the planet for the breaking up of the countries, the X marks the spot for the time to coordinates for the cordially, correspondent to corporate America, the cans and don'ts and good the news, and I'm in position, she's a dancer.
And I guess you made it. And I guess you made it through the way. And I guess you made it through the way, to the heart. Expressed in a place to go through all the matters that you can find and what's next. That's peaceful, the dreamscapes to the first smell of breaking the fast and eating stuff. But this has made the way for the bed, for the food, for the taste of the acid, down the refrigerator, for the sink, then the opposite. Taking ownership for the day, for the it was the opposite, the keeping the ship sinking. Like that acetate down the throat, it's the most important part that matters, the explanation, the planet for the breaking up of the countries, the X marks the spot for the time to coordinates for the cordially, correspondent to corporate America, the cans and don'ts and good the news, and I'm in musician, she's a dancer, but the one that doesn't even know they're getting it, and the cancer with those and always complicated, but the justifiable for the answers, due to so much for the I can don't understand for the dump, for the moon and have the plans to die to time for the matter for the drifting in motion. Floats in oceans, it depends on the science and the gravity. Paper sinking or swimming, they're becoming hard to see. For understanding the fading, the moment the night can know the stars will give resolution. Find a meaning in the light to be able to see the time for the way. Home is not for the heart, for my opinion, it's still until you can fail that mail for the distant memory to yourself like it was a copyright sent overnight. Passing thoughts and zip codes arriving drained and overexplained pain until she was numbing enough of the ears to pull the numb the thumb. This is one of the ear to understand, but they don't know what to do it. Do the bad parts so far, the food, the foods, the thoughts, finger food for the appetizer, to getting drunk and all for love and being. Put in the tank for not for the past and the breathalyzer for forgetting the children all the time, like parents and Alzheimer's and all of the mother for the child, for the give me like a child without a memory. Father, and I run back to those cloudy wastelands and see it through like turning into slow to the mind and the coast and getting washed inside it after the Washington chip bleachers. Pictures and G's being raised for the announcers to call the batter for that's a swinger. In the beauty who's the batter for this love for the owner, just do for the mouth when they notice the third strike and it was the owner inside and wash it inside like a shopper for the bleach. With a clip for the sexual repeat for the owner, the British teeth for the owner, the queen for the find that for the open gate for the leash, they're taking my heart for the chest and this is beyond the wise for reaching the wisdom. An oxymoron, the teacher, the well argue be the womanizer for the preacher for the supremacist, the coach of the bleachers, to keep in the whites whiter for the holograms of the paraplegics. Speaking of parables, cutting off you like perpendicular the parallels and paralegals to the particularly the cutting out of all of that for the participants and the husband and the wives and lost out of the overdoer and they can find out with the stores and looking over the stores, getting petitioned and being petted enough for the treating pets and petting zoo for the utilizing the flower petals to make sure that you are able to penetrate the chart. This would be the getting in the salt for the energy, for the getting the penalized for the battery, for the writing the words of the pen, for the doing the numbers of the pensions. Imposing prison sentences and that's so time residents only serving periods and premature for the premature for the administrator, for the woman's custody, to be the film, for the PMS, for the pens and pencil, pen won't make that light for the penalty, for that you can find a better for the dark and night. Pronouncing the love for the Ubers of the moon, for the remember the how that you could dance and act, for the way we returning the souls to the chart each other, for the energy with the stars in alignment. Calling a meteorite, falling star, but you can call it again mediocre enough for the think that for you can only imagine for the sun and the moon. Soon we'll watch that blue water drown into the overbearing the gravity of the forevermore for the somewhere down the line for the periods of someone's instance. Smelling aroma for the loves of heart. I approaches that for the what's in store for the approaching to the corner store for the passing over the ships like a night and night for the great for the well and the credits and the know who you can find a well breath to do the nose and uptight. Unexposed, these men have the mentality for the heavy mental of the being slums around white people for their pupils and being told that for the tall is not equal enough for the coming to the America the sequel. Tall Negroes that knees outgrow people in the bending peepholes and not making their people loud sound souls of the shoes reaping the souls that you reap. Benefits of the being able to make a certain amount of energy for the time for that for the greater for the disability consider for the I'm making the same for the disability smile the brilliant smile but not a dream. And I guess you made it through the way, to the heart. Expressed in a place to go through all the matters that you can find and what's next. That's the peaceful dreamscapes to the first smell of breaking.
I guess you made it through the way, to the heart. Expressed in a place to go through all the matters that you can find and what's next. That's to be peaceful, the dreamscapes to the first smell of breaking the fast and eating stuff. But this has made the way for the bed, for the food, for the taste of the acid, down the refrigerator, for the sink, then the opposite. Taking ownership for the day, for the it was the opposite, the keeping the ship sinking. Like that acetate down the throat, it's the most important part that matters, the explanation, the planet for the breaking up of the countries, the X marks the spot for the time to coordinates for the cordially, correspondent to corporate America, the cans and don'ts and good the news, and I'm the musician, she's a dancer, but the one that doesn't even know they're getting any, and the cancer with those that always complicated for the justifiable, for the answers, you know so much for the I can don't understand, for the dark, for the wound, and have the plan to die to time for the matter, for the drifting in motion. Floats in oceans, it depends on the science and the gravity. Paper sinking, they're swimming, they're becoming hard to see for the understanding the fading. The moment the night can know the stars will give resolution. find a meaning in the light to be able to see the time for the way. Home is not for the heart, from my opinion, it's stale until you can fail that mail for the distant memory to yourself like it was a copyright sent overnight. Passing thoughts and zip codes arriving drained and overexplain pain until she was numbing enough of the ears to pull the numb the thumb. This is one of the here to understand, but they don't want to do it. Do it the best parts, far the food, the foods, the thoughts, the finger food for the appetizer, the getting drunk and all for love and being put in the tank for not for the past and the breathalyzer for forgetting the children all the time, like parents and all timers and all the mother for the child, for the can be like a child without a memory of a father. And I run back to those cloudy wastelands and see it through like turning into glow to the minds and the coast and getting washed inside of that for the washing and chip bleachers. Pictures and G's are being raised for the announcers to call the batter for that's the swinger. And it beats who the batter for this love for the owner just stood for the mouth when they noticed the third strike and it was the only inside and wash it inside like a shower for the bleach. With a clip for the sexual repeat for the owner, the British teeth for the owner, the queen for the find that for the open gate for the leash, they're taking my heart for the chest, and this is beyond the wise for the reaching the wisdom. An oxymoron, a teacher, the could be the womanizer for the preacher, for the supremacy, the coach of the bleachers, to keeping the whites whiter for the holograms to the paraplegics. Speaking of parables, cutting off you like perpendicular parallels and paralegals to the particularly cutting out of all of that for the participants and the husband and the wives and lost out of the over there and they could find out with the stores and looking over the stores, getting petitioned and being petted enough for the treating pets at petting zoo for the utilizing the flower petals to make sure that you are able to penetrate the tarp. This would be the getting in the salt for the energy, for the getting the penalized for the battery, for the writing the words to the pen, for the doing the numbers to the pensions. Imposing prison sentences and that's so time is only serving periods and premature for the premature for the administrator, for the woman's custody, be the fan for the PMS, or the pens and pens and pencil, the moon pen won't make that light for the penalty, for the you can find a better for the dark and night. Pronouncing the love for the oops, for the moon, for the remember the how that you can dance and that for the witty, to turn in the souls to attract each other, for the energy with the stars and the light. Calling a meteorite, follow star, but you can call it mediocre enough for the think that, for you going in the magic for the soon moon. Soon we'll watch that blue water drown into the overbearing the gravity, the forevermore for the somewhere down the line for the periods of someone's infancy. Smelling aroma for the loves of heart. Approaches that for the what's in store for the approaching to the corner store for the passing over the ships like a night and night for the break for the welling and the credits and the knowing. Combine it well breath and the nose and uptight. Unexposed, these men have the mentality for the heavy metal with the being slums around white people for the pupils and being told that for the talk is not equal enough for the coming to America the sequel. Tall Negroes that needs outgrow people in the bending peepholes and not making them people loud sound souls of the shoes reaping the souls that you reap. Benefits of it being able to make a certain amount of energy for the time for that for the greater for the this will be the consider for the I'm making the same for the this will be the smile we bring a smile for the other dream. I guess you made it through the way, to the heart, expressed in the place to go through all the matters you can find what's next. That's
when she forgot me so sooner than later for this forgot me before as though I didn't forgive her before. How could you hurt someone who didn't forgive, who wouldn't hurt you for many times you hurt me for one with his integrity with a no one idea for the she wants to be with. She's doing to be lying to me, they're lying to me and I can't trust her. Can't trust anyone who can trust in lying. Deceit, you forgive her once and she give you 4 more times, how cruel. Although she's the first one crying, I told her I'm hurting and she can care less, but I'm by myself and thinking someone else and she begged me to come back, but then she left me even hanging like I was back to back with a turn for the owner should turn back to the salt. Ugliness and deceit for the no receipt with no regrets makes no angry. But how can I choose that and should be happy without her? But real true love is without the doubting. It's harm having to complain if you shouting. Hypocrisy to find a line is a thin line between love and the Satan's roundings. Can't do better, but this will do right. It's a choice for the choosing love and losing. Faith is pawning for the courage to integrity. Value for the selling of souls is not allowed. Premises and the promises are empty for the premises of the promiscuous. Miscellaneous conscious. Accounts and accounting repetition like metronome for the man's bridge. Gnomes, deadly habits, a bit devised and devastating for the demoralized time, realizing when they're realighting for the Egyptus. Describe scribble cribs and bibs and baby girl tendencies for the drooling affection effects. Dodging and inflection experiences bring awareness to a little bird for the nest, the build for the additional equations to the living condition of the equally hard iron for shit intelligence for the discipline, the intel, forming us in the patterns in the pattern, leather deflation, the recognition, and cognitive and coherent direction, pain, rent, while it tends to detrimental to death. Generating with broad accents, defining an artifact of this and lack, intrigued by how to act this in a fictional role for the social condition for the industry, the food for the intermittent for eating, feeding, and the EPA acts when there's leading like a bird, pointed at me who's the act. Later, how can I forget when she forgot me? So sooner than later, because she forgot me. Before, as though I didn't forgive her. Before, how could you hurt someone who didn't forget? Who wouldn't hurt you for many times you hurt? Later, how can I forget when she forgot me? So sooner than later, because she forgot me. Before, as though I didn't forgive her. Before, how could you hurt someone who didn't forget? Who wouldn't hurt you so many times you hurt me? For one with integrity, with no one idea of what she wants to be with. She's doing to me, lying to me, even lying to me, and I can't trust her. Can't trust anyone who can trust in line. You see, you forgive her once, and she give you 4 more times. How cruel. Although she's the first one crying, I told her I'm hurting and she can care less. But I'm by myself and thinking someone else, and she begged me to come back, but then she left me even hanging like I was back to back for the turn for the owner shouldn't. Turn back to the salt. Ugliness of deceit for the no receipt, with no regrets makes no angry. But how can I choose that and should be happy without her? But real true love is without the doubting. Cause harm, havoc, and complain of you shouting. Hypocrisy to define the line is the thin line between love and the Satan's routings, and you can't do better for the disability right. It's a choice for the choosing and losing. Faith is pawning for the currency integral. Value for the selling of souls is not allowed. And the premises of the promises are empty for the premises of the promiscuous. Miscellaneous conscious. Accounts and accounting. Repetition like metronome for the man's bridge. Gnomes, deadly habits, a bit devised and devastating for the demoralized time, realizing when they're realighting with the Egyptus. Describe scribble cribs and bibs and baby girl tendencies for the drooling affection effects. Dodging and inflection experiences bring awareness to a little bird for the nest, the build for the additional equations to the living condition of the equally hard iron for intelligence for the disability, the intel, forming us in the patterns in the pattern, leather deflation, the recognition, and cognitive and coherent direction is paying rent for the wallet dense and detrimental for the debtor. Determinating with fraud acts and dissident mining and artifacts, this is the lack. Intrigued by how to act, this is the official role for the social condition for the industry, the food for thought, for the intermittent for the eating, the feeding, and this to be the leading. Me and the EPA acts, and when there's leading like a gun, pointed at me, who's to act? As if I was painting, parting pants with particular parts, but you can consider me that for the releasing. I can find that for the glad you made it, for this is the feeling you beat someone and whatever the standards, and this is the odor, you can find that truth in the lies. Almost with a positive, you can never wonder that he's that man for the never wondered. It's a complicated thing, you can question that and transform for the first and foremost, and this is all that I wanted for this to be the love. And every rhythm, the beat is critical for my heart. It's gonna play a part for this, even respect the spiritual, even the beast that becomes the spirit. This is the spirit for the touching the ears of those who wanna hear the truth. The lines beneath that surface for the underlying honesty for the position that you choose. Which views you use and know the possibility for the effect in your energy for the into with the grace and allow you to see the next passing hour like you in the former place to lose and blame. Being confused, burned, fused, choosing to express what's on your mind, and I can all consider for the place that you're going for through the matters and those who she's next to bottom of my heart. Destination, pulling over like the past, pulling in the emotion to the side and letting them pass it right into the drawing of the dance and down the future moon. Becomes more bright for the night slips away for the even the rest of the night for this the default dream states and where's the first smell of breaking the fast eating slow. She's made it to the way. Hi. She left later, how can I forget when she forgot me? So sooner than later for this forgot me. Before as though I didn't forgive her. Before, how could you hurt someone who didn't forget? Who wouldn't hurt you for many times you hurt me? For one with integrity, with no one idea for who she wants to be with. She's doing to be, lying to me, with a lying to me, and I can't trust her. Can't trust anyone who can trust in lying. Deceit, you forgive her once, and she give you 4 more times. How cruel. Although she's the first one crying, I told her I'm hurting and she can care less. But I'm by myself and thinking someone else, and she begged me to come back, but then she left me even hanging like I was back to back and turn for the owner shouldn't. Turn back to the salt. Ugliness and deceit for the no receipt, no regrets makes no angry. But how can I choose that and should be happy without her? But real true love is without the doubting. Cause harm, havoc, and complain of you shouting. Hypocrisy to define the line is the thin line between love and the Satan's routings. And you can't do better for the disability, right? It's a choice for the choosing and losing. Faith is pawning for the currency, integral. Value for the selling of souls is not allowed. And the premises and the promises are empty for the premises of the promiscuous. Miscellaneous conscious. Accounts and accounting. Repetition like metronome for the man's bridge. Gnomes, deadly habits, a bit devised and devastating for the demoralized time, realizing and realigning for the Egyptus. Describe scribble cribs and bibs and baby girl tendencies for the drooling affection effects, dodging and inflection experiences bring awareness to a little bird for the nest, the build for the additional equations to the living condition of the equally hard either for racial intelligence for the disability intel, formulas and the patterns in the pattern, leather deflation, the recognition and cognitive and coherent, and direction is paying rent for the wallet dense and detrimental for the deteriorating with the fraud acts and dissident mining and artifacts, this lack. Intrigued by how to act, this is the official role for the social, the condition for the edition, the food for thought for the intermittent for the eating, the feeding, and this to be the leading. Me and the EPA acts, and when there's a leading like a gun pointed at me, who's to act? As if I was painting, parting pants with particular parts where you would consider me that for the releasing, and I can find that for the glad you made it for this is the feeling to meet someone and whatever the standards, and this is the odor you can find the truth in the lies. And almost to the positive you can never wonder it. He's that man for the never wondered it. It's a complicated thing and you can must not and transform for the first and first and foremost, and this is all that I wanted for this to be the love. And every rhythm and beat is critical for my heart. It's gonna play a part for this to even expect the spiritual, even the beast that becomes his beard, and this the spirit for the touching the ears of those who want to hear the truth. The lines beneath that service for the underlying honesty for the position that you choose. Which views you use and use and know the possibility for the effect and your energy for the intuitive grace and allow you to see the next passing hour like you've been informed in place for who's to blame. Being confused, burned, fused, choosing to express what's on your mind and not get all considered for the place that you're going for through the matters and deals. She's next to follow my heart. Destinations pulling over like the past and pulling an emotion to the side and letting them pass, arriving to the drunk and the dance and at the future moon. Becomes more bright for the night slips away for the even the rest of the night for this the peaceful dreamscapes and where's the first smell of breaking the fast and eating slow. She's made it through the way. I slept later, how can I forget when she forgot me so sooner than later for this forgot me before as though I didn't forgive her. Before, how could you hurt someone who didn't forget, who wouldn't hurt you for many times you hurt me, for one with integrity, with a no one idea for the she wants to be with. She's doing to be, lying to me, they're lying to me, and I can't trust her. Can't trust anyone who could trust in lying. Deceit, you forgive her once and she give you 4 more times, how cruel.